Good afternoon. My name is Sheila Lamb, and I'm with the Virginia SBDC Network. For those of you that are not familiar with our organization, the Virginia Small Business Development Center is a partnership program between the U.S. Small Business Administration, George Mason University, and local host institutions throughout Virginia. With 26 locations across the Commonwealth, we provide training and technical assistance to small businesses in their local communities. Our one-on-one advising services are available at no charge. Today's webinar, Intro to State Government Contracting with SBSD, is presented by the Virginia SBDC Network in partnership with the Virginia Department of Small Business and Supplier Diversity. We are recording today's presentation and it will be posted on our website, virginiasbdc.org. Due to the large number of participants, everyone's microphone is muted and the chat feature is turned off. But if you have questions during the presentation, you can type those into the Q&A box, and we will address them during the webinar and after, time permitting. We have also enabled the live transcript function, which you can show or hide via your own meeting controls. And now it is my pleasure to introduce our presenter for today's session, Chris Lay. Chris has worked with small businesses since 2007 when she joined a small women-owned marketing company, Asian Marketing Services, as their Director of Business Development. She started the SWaM mentoring program and the Entrepreneur Roadmap program at Northern Virginia Community College. She was a marketing consultant at the Business Development Assistance Group, a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping minority business owners. In 2016, Chris joined the Virginia Department of Small Business and Supplier Diversity as a business services manager covering the Northern Virginia region. She continues to work with aspiring entrepreneurs and small business owners to get them ready and into the Commonwealth of Virginia's procurement system by providing training, workshops, and one-on-one counseling sessions. Please join me in welcoming Chris Lay.
Thank you, Sheila. Hello, everyone. Thank you to Sheila and the Virginia SBDC for hosting this webinar. And you did hear her correctly. I started working with the small business community in 2007. I just want y'all to know I started working in second grade, okay? So thank you all for joining us during your lunchtime. I hope you're all doing well, staying safe, and enjoying the winter wonderland that we're having. My name is Chris Lay. I am with the Virginia Department of Small Business and Supplier Diversity. My colleagues, Angela Barber and Kathy Deacon, are also on this call. So Angie covers the eastern part of Virginia, and Kathy covers the southwest region. I cover Northern Virginia. So if you're calling in from any of those areas, then Angie and Kathy are your business services manager from the SBSD. So if you want to learn about getting started in government contracting in Virginia, then you are in the right place. This webinar is going to give you the basic steps to get you started. And so when I start the presentation, I'm just going to turn my camera off so you don't have to get distracted by my funny faces that I make when I talk. So let's get started. All right, we are a small business agency here in Virginia. And our mission is to provide education, assistance, and access to capital to small businesses. We're here to support you so that you can become successful. And how do we do that? We have four main divisions. The Virginia Small Business Financing Authority is our financing department. They provide both direct and indirect loan programs. I am with Business Development Outreach along with Angie and Kathy. Our team supports economic development in the communities of our territories. We work with businesses across the Commonwealth, offering one-on-one business counseling, various types of training events and workshops, in collaboration with resource partners such as the SBDC. We are the certifying agency for the SWaM and DBE certification. The SWaM certification is Virginia's small business program. It's for small businesses, micro-sized businesses, women-owned or minority-owned businesses, whereas the DBE certification is a federal disadvantaged business enterprise certification, and it's really very specific. So it's for businesses interested in working on transportation projects that uses federal funds. And then we have the Sourcing Compliance Division. They work with buyers in all the other agencies in the Commonwealth to make sure that those agencies and buyers are strategically sourcing small businesses on state contracts. This division ensures that those agencies comply with the 42% small business aspirational goal that we have. So you want to grow your business by getting into state government contracting. Well, the first thing you need to do is register your business in the state procurement system. We call it EVA, and it stands for Electronic Virginia. It's a procurement portal, and everything you need to know about state government contracting can be found on the EVA website. It's a tool or a platform used by over 200 state agencies, which includes the colleges and universities, as well as a lot of the local governments. It's where you're going to find the opportunities. You can do your market research and then respond to opportunities and actually submit the bids. And here's how we do government contracting. For those opportunities under $10,000, we only need one price quote, so it is not competitive. We call these micro purchases, and we prioritize these opportunities for firms that are micro certified. Because micro purchases are non-competitive, you won't find them posted in EVA until they are awarded. This is why doing business development and building relationship with buyers is so important. These are the kind of opportunities you get when buyers know you and they know your business. So when they need it, they just call you directly. And then opportunities over $10,000 are competitive. Over $10,000 up to $100,000. They are competitive and they will be found in EVA before they are awarded. We call these small purchases. And the priority for those opportunities would be to award it to a firm that is certified as a small business. And then we have large purchases. Large purchases are any opportunity over $100,000. Most times they're going to be an ISB, which is invitation for bid, or an RFP, which is a request for proposal. These opportunities are typically sealed competitive bidding, where IFB opportunities are normally awarded based on price, and RFP opportunities are awarded on the best overall proposal. Registering in EVA is quick and easy. You can probably do it in 10 minutes, depending how fast you can type. You will need to have an EIN number, an employer identification number. You have to submit the Virginia Substitute W-9 form, which is different from the IRS W-9 form. And you really need to know your commodity codes. So to register in EVA, you just go to the EVA homepage, which is eva.virginia.gov, and click on the Register Now button on the left. Registering in EVA is free, but keep in mind, EVA will charge you when you win a contract or a bid on EVA. They charge you a 1% of that contract price. So remember this when you are putting in your bid for an opportunity, especially the ones that are price-based. And here's how the EVA system works. You register your business in the system. You put in there your contact information. You add in your commodity codes to your profile of all the products or the services that you sell. And then the EVA system will match you up with opportunities that are open in the system based on the commodity codes in your profile. They send you an email telling you of the opportunity. So when you create the profile, if you put in your profile all the commodity codes of everything you do, then you don't ever have to go and search for opportunities because the system will search for you. And it is then the most important thing when you're creating your profile is getting the correct commodity codes in there. So for those of you who do federal contracting, this is not the same commodity code system because federal government uses NAICS commodity codes, whereas state and local government, we use NIGP commodity code. There's no rhyme or reason to the way the two code systems work. They're just completely different. So if you're familiar with federal government, just set that aside because it doesn't translate over to our system at all. There are a lot of codes. I want to say there are probably 70,000 commodity codes, and you can look them up in the system by typing in the keyword, and then the response will come back. But I like to actually go to the category, open up the category to find the specific codes of your product or your service. And if your business provides a service, then your commodity codes should all start with a 9. It's a 5-digit code system. The first number from 0 to 9 will tell you if it's a product or a service. Anything that starts from 0 all the way up to 8, those codes are for products. So remember, if you provide a service, all of your commodity codes, that first number, it should be a 9. For example, I know we have a lot of consulting services, especially in the Northern Virginia area. And you all think consulting services 91800 is your commodity code. I'm going to tell you right now, it's not. What you want to do is open up the category because look on the screen. This is just a screenshot of all the A's. It's a really wide and big and long commodity code category. So if you put the category in, you're getting matched up to everything in that category. And it starts with the audio visual consulting. And I think the last code in there is utilities. So you're matched up with everything in there. And if you only do, say, IT consulting, you're being matched up with everything else that's not IT consulting. So don't do that. Open up the category. Don't put a category code in your profile. There's no limit to the number of codes you could have in your profile. So if you do 50 different things, put in 50 codes. If you sell products and you have a warehouse of 100 products, then you should have 100 codes in your profile because there's a code for each product. Now, I know that's a lot of information I just threw at you in like 5 minutes on EVA. So if you're new to government contracting, it can be a little overwhelming. So EVA provides weekly training to help you understand and navigate the system. And I highly, highly recommend you take these free workshops. It's a series of 2 workshops. Workshop number 1 is called Intro to Selling to Virginia. It's a very good 101 kind of foundation workshop. And then workshop number 2 is called Generating Leads with EVA. And I'm a data nerd because I was an accounting major, and so I like data. This is your data mining class. It's going to show you how to find all the data that you could possibly need so to help you be successful when you're bidding on something. This one will show you how to run reports based on your commodity codes to find the buyers you need to be connecting with. Who are the other vendors that could be potential? I mean, there's competitors, but they could be potential partners or primes that you can be reaching out to. Which agencies buying what you sell? How much have they spent on your product or service in the past so you have a price range that you can know when you're bidding on it? All that information is found in the EVA system. And workshop number 2 will show you how to find all that data. And then lastly, if you need help with EVA, please contact EVA Customer Care. They're really responsive. I've worked with them in the past when I had to help people that couldn't log into their account. They help you with the technical part. So if you can't log in, you don't know how to change your information, your contact, or adding commodity codes, they can help you with all of that. So please reach out to them if you need help specifically with EVA. And that is the procurement piece. Like I said before, EVA is your one place for procurement in Virginia. You create your profile and then you just get opportunities sent to you and then you respond accordingly. Next up would be the certification programs that we have. So to help small businesses get into government contracting, SBSD offers 2 certification programs, both the SWaM and the DBE certification. First, let me start by saying certification is not required to do government contracting in Virginia. There are many, many businesses and vendors who are currently listed in the EVA database to do business with Virginia, but they're not SWaM certified. But for small businesses who are new to government contracting, certification can give you an advantage that help you get started. So let's talk about the DB certification first. And I'm only going to glance over it just a little bit because as some of you may be aware, there's been a lot of changes with the DB certification program and it's currently on hold. It is a federal certification program from the U.S. Department of Transportation, and like I said, is very specific in its purpose. It's for businesses in the transportation construction industry. It's used on transportation projects that uses federal funds, and it helps businesses to be part of that project, those big, gigantic mega projects, as a subcontractor because there will be DBE goals for subcontractors on those projects. So if this is your industry and you want to learn more about this certification, I will have a contact person for you at the end of the presentation. Now, the SWaM certification is for businesses in all industries. This is Virginia's Small Business Development Program to help small businesses get into government contracting. It really stands for a small business, a women-owned or minority-owned business, and it also includes micro-size. Remember, I said Virginia has a 42% as aspirational goal to spend our contracting dollars with SWaM certified businesses. And that goal is 50% for subcontracting with SWaM certified businesses on new capital outlay construction solicitations. Now, think of the SWaM certification as an umbrella certification with multiple designations. And here are some of the designations that we will certify you for. A small business. You can be certified as a small business. And if you have less than 250 employees, or you have less than $10 million in gross revenue. When we say employee, we are only counting W-2 employees towards that number, and the number are maximum numbers. So you can't have more than that. And notice the small definition is an or. So you either eat the employee count or the revenue number to be eligible. And because small really is not that small, it's kind of big, because you could be at $50 million in gross revenue, but only have 200 employees, and by definition, you're still small. We came up with a micro-sized definition. To be certified as a micro business, you have to have less than 25 employees, and you have to have less than $3 million in gross revenue. You have to meet both the number of employee and the revenue requirements to be a micro certified business. Women and minority-owned business are kind of self-explanatory. The women or minority owner must be a 51% majority owner of the business, and they have to control the business. And we have additional designations. The service disabled veteran business must be 51% owned and controlled by one or more service disabled veteran. And if you're not a service disabled veteran, where you're active military, if you're a spouse or dependent of a military person, you can apply for the military family owned business. That must be 51% owned and controlled by one or more member of the uniformed services, a veteran or a dependent. An employee service organization, ESOs, are nonprofits who employ individuals with disability, and ESOs really are the only nonprofit that is eligible for the SWaM certification, because certification is typically for for-profit businesses, except for ESOs. We recognize that there are multiple federal certifications from the SBA. So if you're already registered, I'm already certified by the SBA as an 8A, a federal SDV, if you're WOSB or EDWSB, and you have them from the SBA, you can add them to your profile and check them when you are applying for the SWaM certification. But keep in mind, we don't do the certification. So only check these designations in your SWaM application if you are already certified by the SBA for them. So after all that, how do you apply? It's easy. It's free. The application is done online. You do your application online, and then you upload your supporting documents online. The typical processing time is 60 business days. So think about 3 calendar months. Once you become certified, your certification is valid for 5 years. So when I was talking about the EVA procurement system, I said the commodity code is the most important thing when it comes to that. For the SWaM certification, the most important thing would be your documents. So I want to go over the documents with you because it is 60 business days, as kind of a long time, 3 months, with the application that is correct. If you apply and you upload the incorrect documents, that's just going to make your 60 business days longer as we go back and forth with you to get the right documents. So I want to make sure you know what it is that we're asking for when the requirement comes up. So let's explain what it is we're asking for. So your supporting documents are really going to depend based on how you respond to the questions in your application. And everyone's application will have different documents depending on your application. But the 4 you see on the screen now is going to be required for all applications. The proof of ID is really just a copy of your driver's license. We want to see your driver's license. proof of citizenship or a permanent resident. So you have to, at a minimum, be a green card holder. If you don't at least have that, you're not going to be eligible. We want to see your resume. We want to make sure that your business is listed on your resume to show that you're working on your business. And then number 4, documented proof of owner's contribution. This is the one that a lot of people don't understand what we're looking for. It's basically you have to prove to us by showing receipts that you have. Show that you use your own personal funds to start this business. Any receipt that you have, and if you're an LLC, I know there's a receipt that you have from the State Corporation Commission that shows that you paid a $100 filing fee with the State Corporation Commission to create your LLC. That receipt is your proof if your name is on that receipt. Or you can use a receipt when you had to get a business license. Any receipt that shows that you use your own money to create your business can be used. Now, if you've been around or been in business for more than 5 years, or you just don't have those receipts because it's been so long ago, you can also write us a letter. Explain to us in the letter that you use your own personal funds to create the business, and then list them. Just itemize everything you use. You had to spend $100 for the State Corporation Commission. You had to pay for a business license, permit, anything. Just list them, sign that letter, and upload that letter for this requirement. And then lastly, the last one that everybody has to upload would be copies of professional license or permits. This could be one of 3 things or all 3. Most local government will require you to have a business license where your business is located. Based on the address of your business, that local government will require you to have a business license. If that business address is also your home address or in a residential zone, most local government will require you to have a home-based business permit also. So you may have to submit a home-based business permit. And then lastly, if your business is in a regulated industry where you have to have a certification or a license to do the business, such as real estate agents, contractors, professional engineers or architects, if that's your business and it's regulated, you have to show that license also. Now, 6 and 7, that's only if you respond in your application that you had revenue or that you have employees. So you put in your application that you had revenues, and right now you're going to apply for it today. We're going to ask for revenue from 2024, 2023, and 2022. So if you have revenues for any of those 3 years, then you will have to submit your tax returns for your business for those years. If you put in your application that you have employees, and again, this is W-2 employees, then we're going to want to see your Form 941 filing, because if you have W-2 employees, you are required to take tax withholdings from their paychecks and remit that through the Form 941. And we're going to want to see that Form 941. So remember, don't put in there you have employees if you really don't, and don't count yourself as an employee if your business is not paying you as an employee, because that will trigger the system to request this 941 filing form. If you are a corporation, these are additional documents that you have to submit. If you're a stock corporation, you have to submit all of them. If you're a non-stock corporation, then you do everything except the last 2. Now, for stock corporations, even if your stock has never been issued, we still want to see both sides of your stock certificate and your stock ledger. If you are a limited liability company, you have to submit these 3 documents. When you made that filing with the State Corporation Commission to become an LLC, that form that you filed, that form is called the Articles of Organization. So we want to see a copy of your actual filing. When you filed the Articles of Organization, the State Corporation Commission gave you a certificate of organization, and we want to see that. We will require you to have an operating agreement if you're an LLC, especially if 2 or more owners of the LLC. If you are a single member or you are the only owner of the LLC and you don't have an operating agreement, that's fine. Just write us a letter and explain that to us and upload the letter instead. But if you have 2 or more owners, we're definitely going to ask you for an operating agreement. Sole proprietor, franchises, and partnerships. These are the additional documents that you have to upload for your business. Now, the next few slides are just screenshots. So when you get a copy of this presentation, which I'm sure you will, it's going to help you when you go through your own certification process. To access the certification portal from the SBSD homepage, go to sbsd.virginia.gov, click on Quick Links, and then click on Certification Portal. You're going to get this screen. If this is your first time in the certification portal, then you click on New User Register here that is circled in red. Then you get this screen and you have to create an account because that's the first thing you do in our portal is to create your account. You're going to fill out this information on here, click Submit, and then the screen will pop up and says your account has been created. And you click on Continue. You put an email and password that you have successfully registered in the system. You click Sign In, and we send you an email that looks something like this. In the email, there is a link that you have to click to certify that you're human. And you click on that, and it takes you back to the certification portal, and you're going to register. Once you log in, you will receive a one-time passcode. You enter the passcode and click Submit. And then we're not done yet because it's very secure. Now you have to set up your MFA. You have to set up a multi-factor authentication method. You select one, you receive a code, and you put it in, and then when you're finally logged in and you've gone through all the steps, this is the screen you get. You click on the blue box that says Link or New Application, and you're going to put in your EIN number first. If your EIN number is already in the system, we're going to ask you for a SWaM number to link you back to your existing file in the system because SWaM certification numbers are linked to EIN numbers. For each EIN number, you can only have one SWaM file or profile. You can't create a second application, a second profile or file under the same EIN number. So if you try to apply even like 10 years ago, you put in the EIN number, you created an application, but you didn't even submit it, but you did create one. It's still going to recognize that your EIN number is in our system, and it's going to want you to get back to that application you started 10 years ago and complete that application. So you have to put in the SWaM number that was linked to the EIN number that was created when you first created the application. If you don't know what it is or can't remember what it is, you can always reach out to one of us and we can look you up and tell you what your SWaM number is. So when you do that, this is the actual application screen. You see on the tabs on the top, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you can kind of see number 6 tab, but as you keep going through on the right, you're going to fill out all the information on each of the tabs, and that's the application. Once you fill out the application, it's completed, you click on Save and the next button on the bottom right, and then you get a list of supporting documents that you have to upload for your application. Now, I want you to notice for each of these requirements, there's only one upload field. So for that proof of ID, which is really just a picture of your driver's license, if there's 2 or more owners and you're taking a picture of everyone's driver's license, you have to upload all of them as one file, one PDF. So you have to merge all those pictures into one PDF file to upload because there's only one upload button for that requirement. So remember that if you have more than one owner. Now, once you start an application, you will be assigned a tracking number that you can track your application status on our homepage under Certification Application Status. And it's going to say pending. And I say it's going to say pending for a very long time because it is 60 business days for processing. So don't panic. You can always log into the portal and look up your status of your application when you're logged into. And it will probably be more accurate status because they'll tell you if it's been assigned to somebody, if they have requested additional documents. You can see all that when you log into your account. Now, why does SWaM certification help you in getting into government contracting? Well, remember I said that SWaM certification has multiple designations. There's small, there's micro, women-owned, minority-owned, like all those other designations. Well, the only 2 that really gives you an advantage in procurement is the small and the micro designation. And that's because Virginia is race and gender neutral when it comes to procurement. For micro purchases, remember those are opportunities that's under $10,000, the priority is given to a firm that is micro certified. And then small purchases, anything between $10,000 up to $100,000, that priority is given to a small certified firm. And what we have is called a priority of awards. We don't have a set aside program per se at the state level. Because when you think of set aside, especially for those of you who are more familiar with government contracting at the federal government level, a set aside means only those firms that have that designation or that certification can apply for that opportunity. Whereas in Virginia, opportunities are open to all. Any business can apply or bid on any opportunities that they see in the EVA system. But if there is a micro or a small priority of award, that means for that particular opportunity, the buyer really wants to award it to a firm that is micro or small certified. But anyone can still apply to those opportunities. Now, for opportunities that is typically awarded based on price, where normal procurement rules, the lowest bid wins. However, if you are micro or small or SWaM certified, and your price quote is within 5% of the lowest bid from a non-SWaM certified business, you actually win because we are given a 5% wiggle room in terms of price. Let me give you an example. Let's say that I am big business. I'm like the Walmart of the world or something. I'm big business. And my friend Angie here is a SWaM certified business. We're both going after the same opportunity. I have the lowest bid at $100. So under normal procurement rules, I would win that bid. But because Angie is a SWaM certified business, if her bid is $105, she will win because she's within 5% of the lowest bid from a non-SWaM certified business. Angie would win that opportunity. If she had bid $106, then I still win because I still have the lowest bid. So you only get a 5% wiggle room when it comes to your price for those price-based opportunities. So what happens if the opportunity is over $100,000 and it's a large opportunity? If it's an RFP, I'm going to say typically it's a requirement from an RFP from a state agency that proposal that is submitted include a small business utilization plan. That is a small business plan that the prime has to come up to determine what part of the contract or how much of this contract they're going to sub out to a SWaM certified business. And you know, when you do a proposal, every part of the proposal has points assigned to it, and proposal is graded. I have 100 points. Your technical is graded, your management experience is graded, your small business plan here is graded. Normally, the small business plan requirement is 5 points. That's pretty typical. I've seen some that are 10 points out of 100 points. But I have actually also seen RFPs have that small business plan be 25 points, which is a quarter of your total points just for coming up with a plan to utilize SWaM businesses as subcontractors. Now, if you are the SWaM certified business and you're responding to that RFP for that small business plan requirement, to get the full points for that requirement, you just put in your SWaM number. That's it. You don't have to figure out who you're going to sub, what you're going to sub out, what part of the contract or how much of the contract. You keep the whole contract to yourself and get the full points for that requirement because you are the SWaM certified business. Now remember, we have a 42% goal for discretionary spend with SWaM certified businesses and a 50% goal for new construction outlays. So if I said all that and you still want to do SWaM certification and you need help, you can reach out to any of the business service managers in your region for assistance, or you can reach our main office. And then if you're in the Northern Virginia region, if you have questions about any of the VFA programs, because you're ready for a loan, you can contact Don Jakubek and speak to the regional lending manager. If you're interested in the DBE certification, please reach out to Richard Gordon. For all other questions, you can feel free to reach out to me. So that is it. I want to thank you for your time and attention. And let's see, I know that Angie and Kathy probably have been really busy with the Q&A. So, is there anything left for me?
They have handled a lot of questions, Chris.
Yes, quite
So yeah, Angie and Kathy, I'm just gonna let you all go through the remaining questions and handle it, and I'll finish this up at the end.
okay, awesome. Yeah, so there
Anybody
are,
want to unmute and ask your questions? You can do that too, right?
We're gonna keep it all in the Q&A.
Oh, okay.
There's so many, we have over 100 people on here, so it could get a little bit crazy.
yeah, I would definitely say we have 6 questions right now in the Q&A. So I would just say start from the top and work our way down.
Yep.
Okay. Let's see, anonymous attendee. Thank you for this presentation. The question is, I'm under a business acquisition to purchase a small retail store with a private seller, blah, 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 for a high-end sunglass store and hope to get contracts for construction, military glasses, etc. I'm reading through this. I'm trying to find out what the question is. Will I have to wait?
Question.
Yeah, that was for business consulting, but I will use the EIN DBA, the store. I'm assuming I have to wait before I can apply. My recommendation would be to make sure that all of your business documents are in order before applying. A lot of times when you apply, and if you're referring to SWaM, are you referring to SWaM certification, or are you referring to waiting to register in EVA? But we do recommend that all of your documents are up to date and current before you do either one. So if you want to be a little bit more specific, you can come back and you can do that. Next question, Chris or Kathy?
Do micros get priority over small for $10,000 to $100,000 purchases, or if they're even weighted? I assume that if you're a micro certified, you're also counted as small. That is a true assumption. If you're a micro, by definition, you are also a small. For the other question, I don't know if they're weighted. I think it would depend on the opportunity. You really have to read the opportunity to see how it is, what's the word I'm looking for? How it is evaluated.
And then I would jump, and for micros, our purchasing rules for any purchases under $10,000, we are required to first use a micro. Now, we might not always find a micro, and so then it can go up to the next level, but and it depends on the bid. So it's not necessarily weighted. The micro, anything under $10,000 simply means that we can actually go out. It's not always posted for bid as well. You will have in EVA, you will see some opportunities that say priority award micro. So that means that the buyer's due diligence is to look at all of those bids and then award it first to a micro. But we also have the ability to go out to our SWaM directory and look for vendors for, say, catering, for instance, under $10,000. We're not going to post that in EVA. We have the ability, because it's a small dollar purchase, to find a micro vendor once we get quotes. So it depends on what the solicitation or what the opportunity is. But micro, we can give priority to micro for under 10,000, and then for small purchases as it dictates in the solicitation.
Want to do the next one, the 5% wiggle room, as long as you're within 5%. So it doesn't have to be exact. I think as long as you're within 5%. So $100, 104, you would probably win.
Yeah.
So I understand the next question. The question is, what tools can I use for RFPs for my small business? So Jaron, if you want to let us know some clarification of what you mean. I don't know what you mean by tools. Are you talking about AI? Yeah, I'm not clear.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for resources for help with responding to an RFP, we do work with the Virginia Apex for assistance with that. They will not They will not write the RFP. They recommend that you do a draft and you schedule an appointment. It's no cost for that. But we also have different resources in each of our areas as well. We have workshops here in my area from businesses that actually do this for a living that can provide that assistance as well. So outside of any other tools, if you could just be a little bit more specific, that would be helpful.
For Robert Thomas, is there a definition of what counties or cities are in what region? So we know the regions that we are. If you have a general idea and think where you're located, you can reach out to us and you tell us where you're located. If you're not in our region, we will refer you to the corresponding BSM to give you those local resources. So I can tell you in Northern Virginia which counties I cover because it's a short list. I cover Arlington, Clark, Fairfax, Fauquier, Frederick, Loudoun, Prince William, Rappahannock, and Warren, and all the cities in those counties.
And what we do is we'll send to Sheila as well our contact list. So it breaks us down by our 5 regions and it kind of outlines where we are. I'm Hampton Road. So I'm everything from the Eastern Shore up to Williamsburg. And so with Hampton Roads, it's the major 7 cities. We're not governed by counties within that particular area, but that is pretty much my region.
Yeah, and I'm Southwest Virginia, so I'm kind of from Lexington through Roanoke all the way to the Tennessee-Kentucky border on the far west side, down to Danville, and up to Allegheny Highlands.
She's country, y'all. She's way
up country.
I want to interject the question earlier about what tools to use for RFPs. The question was, what websites can I use to develop RFPs?
Okay.
So it's probably to respond to RFPs. So you're talking about tools for writing that proposal. What I would recommend is take the Apex Accelerator class on responding to RFPs and writing proposals. They do a fantastic job of helping you figure out what sections of the RFP you really need to focus on and to craft that proposal that you need to submit. That is offered often. I think she does it a lot. So if you go to Apex Accelerator website, you probably see an upcoming workshop on writing proposals.
And there's no one proposal that's going to be the same. All solicitations.
No template.
Yeah, there's no template because every solicitation is very unique depending on what they're asking for. And so you really do have to read every RFP thoroughly from front to end, from the end, because their specific instructions are going to be in those solicitations as well. So you also want to make sure that you're reading them and that you're understanding them as well. Okay. So from Mr. McDonald, I guess the question is, does the Commonwealth of Virginia offer procurement opportunities that accept bids from companies that form partnerships in pursuit of specific opportunities? Yes, and so your partnership agreement is going to be between you and whoever you're partnering with the intent to respond to. So there are contracts that can be awarded to a partnership, which is collectively, and when I think about that here, the Hampton Roads Bridge Tunnel project, there are 4 or 5 partners on that particular project. So they formed a partnership to respond to that particular solicitation. So yes, partnerships are ways to opportunities. Sometimes we call it teaming as well. So yes.
From Guy Vincent, I was SWaM certified 14 years ago and had to take a full-time job. Did not renew your certification with SWaM. Is this certification still valid today? So no, it's only valid for 5 years. So you've been expired for a long time, my friend. What you should do is just log into the certification portal, pull up your old file, and recertify your business.
And if you need assistance with that, any one of us can walk you through the details on how to do that.
Just go through the slides on my screen, my presentation from earlier. Okay, from Brittany, would it be best to apply for SWaM certification in Tennessee instead? If you want to do work with Tennessee government, then yes, you probably should be in their procurement portal and apply for their certification. but you have to, if you are a Virginia-based business, I think in order to qualify for the Tennessee certification, you actually have to be certified in your home state, which is Virginia first.
Yep.
So you'd have to be SWaM certified here before you can apply for the certification program in Tennessee.
And we do have reciprocity, and a couple of I've responded to pretty much the same question about out of state and put the link for the reciprocity policy. But Sheila, we can send that to you as well to send out as the follow-up with the slide deck.
So Kiera says if a non-SWaM certified business lists a SWaM certified business as a subcontractor, does that priority still apply for that RFP? And again, I think it's going to depend on the RFP. You know, it's just going to depend on how they're evaluating whether the prime contractor must be the SWaM certified business. So, you know, the RFPs really vary from RFP to RFP. So again, I think like Angie and Chris both said, make sure you read everything.
Yeah. And also too, one of the things that we see a lot with in this instance is with construction companies, particularly when they're very large projects. A smaller company may not have the resources. However, when that prime or that much larger contractor is bidding, they do have to submit something called a SWaM plan that says we will use or we will be subcontracting out to these businesses. It is required. They will be required to do that. And they don't necessarily have to be SWaM, the larger company.
So Ray asked, can you discuss a little bit more about the point system as it pertains to the IFB? You mentioned the management plan and other categories in the technical approach. So that is for the RFP. IFBs are not graded. It is typically based on price, whereas the RFP has a point system. That proposal is evaluated based on a point system, and each section of that proposal will be graded, and the points assigned to each section will be listed in the RFP, and that will change depending on the RFP.
Oh, this is from Ms. Hillary. Just so y'all know, Angela Barber is the best and great resource. My question is, thank you, Ms. Hillary. Actually, Hillary just done the 6-part series with me to teach businesses how to respond, and she is awesome. Is there any talk that the SWaM program will go away? To our knowledge, not at this. We have not heard that. So a lot of that comes down from direction will come from legislation, and as far as we know, it will not. And just so everybody understands, SWaM is not a DEI initiative. It never has been. The state of Virginia is race and gender neutral. So that means that we cannot award contracts based on being woman-owned or minority-owned. This is, Chris mentioned, it is a small business procurement opportunity or program. So we haven't heard that, Ms. Hillary, and thank you.
There's a question about how to find opportunities in EVA. Did someone respond?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, I put the training link in.
Okay, because I'm like, it just went away.
Okay. From Ms. Natalie, does a copy of SWaM Cert upload into EVA? If so, what specific document? So when you are SWaM certified and you have a registered profile in EVA, we do what is called a data dump weekly, or actually every day. Your SWaM certification information, once you become approved for SWaM, automatically gets uploaded into your EVA profile. So there is nothing that you need to do. What goes over is your certification number, your certifications, and the expiration date. So that information does get uploaded into EVA.
Yes. So Dante, about his question about being a business established in Texas, and you've relocated to Northern Virginia. The question is, do I need to register the business as a foreign entity in Virginia before applying? So my question to you is, if you're incorporated in Texas, but where's your headquarters? If you're headquartered in Texas, you're not going to be eligible for SWaM certification. If you want to do business in Virginia, you actually have to apply. I mean, do the paperwork with the State Corporation Commission to be a foreign entity to do business in Virginia first. That's the first thing you have to do. Now, in order to be eligible for SWaM certification, if you move your headquarters up to Virginia, and that's whatever location you are in Virginia, that's your headquarters office, then you will be eligible. But if your headquarters is still in Texas, you're not going to be eligible.
Correct. Thank you, Chris. I think we answered that. What websites can I use to develop RFPs? I think we've answered that.
Typing the response, like writing that proposal, we get that a lot.
Mhm.
And I've heard a lot of counselors from Apex Acceler respond to that, and the answer has always been no.
None. There's none.
Do not use AI to write your response, to write your proposal.
Yes.
Yeah, don't do it. Write
Yes.
it yourself too, because you know your business best. You would be the best person to write that proposal.
Yeah. And again, that's the same thing. What websites can I use to develop RPs from Mr. Vanderhall? So same response.
So the IT contract is still a contract from a Virginia agency, and it will be in the EVA website. All opportunities in Virginia will be in EVA.
Yes. And just so you know where they are, if you go to, and I'll drop it in there as well, but if you go to EVA's website and hover over contracts and sources, there's going to be a drop down and you will see IT contracts that are managed by Vita. And that's where you will see all of the mandatory contracts. We have to purchase off those contracts first. The only time we can go off those is if any one of those businesses that have a contract with the state cannot provide what it is that we need. And I'll drop that in that answer as well. I'll type it in.
Who wants to answer the Virginia-based business given priority over out in state bids? Who wants to answer that one?
I would say, because I'm not on the procurement side, again, we have businesses that are outside the state of Virginia that win a contract. And what it boils down to depends on what the priority is. But it also is going to depend on the type of solicitation and specifically if it's an RFP. Again, RFPs are not based on the lowest bid, they are best overall. And we do have companies that have won contracts that are not state of Virginia businesses. So it also depends on what type of solicitation and what they're looking for. Now, if it requires it to be a Virginia business, then of course that will take Virginia business will be given the priority. And in some cases, they may require a Virginia business for location purposes. Depends on what it is.
So Culpeper, I think that's Ramen, right? Is that Ramen's region?
That is Ramen.
Yeah,
Yep.
so you would be in the Shenandoah Blue Ridge area. Richmond would be Randy Brown. That's the Richmond Central Virginia region. Randy Brown would be your business services manager. And I think Angie just said the list where in EVA to see state contracts.
Yep.
Yep. So for the Vita ones, actually just put the link for anything that was for the IT. But also, if you go right to EVA, if you just want to do a quick search, if you go to EVA's homepage and click on the Business Opportunities tab and click Virginia Business Opportunity or VBO, that is a running dashboard of every single solicitation that's ever been posted in EVA, whether it's open, closed, or awarded. I would say that's a great place if you just want to go and search, and you do not have to have an account to do it because EVA is public and you can just go search. I'll drop that in if you guys want.
For Ray, you do not have to have any certifications or designations in order to submit a response. You can bid on anything without any certification. For the North Carolina business, you can still do business and register your business in the EVA system. If you want to apply for SWaM certification, you're only going to be eligible for minority or women-owned if you're already certified in North Carolina first.
Hillary, you put Shipley, proposal lessons learned and training. Do you want to come off of mute and add a little bit more to that? she's my go-to for anything that has to do with RFPs.
We have 5 minutes and 25 questions.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
Okay. The Richmond, she responded to that. Let's see. I domesticated my company from DC to Virginia. I think I have all of my licenses through my lawyer for the transfer, but I don't actually know. How can I validate? Well, you need to check. If your lawyer handled your paperwork, my recommendation is to check with your lawyer. We can go to the SEC and we can read everything because it's public. So I would definitely say if your lawyer handled that you would go back to make sure that they handled that correctly. And you can go to the SEC, sec.virginia, spell Virginia out.gov, and search for your business as well. Your entire filing history is public, and you should be able to see that.
We're going to add, if we don't get to all these questions, which obviously in 4 minutes, I don't think we can. If any questions don't get answered, you can send, I put it in the chat, help at Virginia SBDC. You can send an email there. I can forward it on to these ladies. And again, you'll have their direct contact information when the follow-up email goes out, which should be by tomorrow. So you'll be able to follow up there that way as well.
Someone had a question on spending. We do track spending. It's tracked. It can be tracked in EVA, but for a more public view, we have something called the expenditure dashboard. So I will drop that link in there, and this is where every state agency reports their spending, and it's broken down so that anyone public can actually go out to the expenditure dashboard and see what the state has purchased, who they've purchased it from, and how much was spent on those purchases. So I'll drop that in the response.
Yeah, and Dawn asked, how do you track the prime companies to reach out to them? Again, EVA is a great place to find out who's been awarded contracts. And I highly recommend the EVA training if you're not familiar with how to look up data, run reports, find out, who your competitors are, who you might partner with. EVA is the place to start, and I highly recommend taking their training. Kim Pritchett does an amazing job of going into detail about all of this information.
So Tony wrote, the prime usually needs to hold the SWaM. I'm not sure what you mean by that.
And I kind of provide a little bit of a, when I use the construction. So not necessarily, if the prime is a larger construction company, they don't have to be SWaM, but they will be required to use SWaM subcontractors. So the state spending is about 42% of our non-discretionary spend, but for construction, it was raised to about 50%. So 50% of that contract should be subbed out to under that. And that's how they meet the SWaM requirement. And typically there is a contract manager or the buyer who's on that particular solicitation, who's going to make sure that the prime is also reporting what SWAMs that they're using.
And for Rebecca, the Apex Accelerator counselor, if you reach out to one of us, we can look into that for you. If the EVA profile shows that she is not certified, but she thinks that she is, I'm going to guess that it's for a different EIN number because it matches up based on EIN number. So if the two records don't match, the EIN number is different. But reach out to one of us and we can look into it further for you.
Got 1 minute, ladies. Pick one to answer and we'll finish up here.
Got everything.
Yeah. Do you help mentors? Do you help connect micro businesses to mentors? Well, we are all considered mentors. So it depends on what it is that you need assistance with. You can reach out to any one of us. Do not have to be a micro, do not have to be small, do not have to be SWaM certified. All of us on deck today are considered counselors and mentors. Reach out to any of us. We'll be happy to help you.
Okay. Any last words of wisdom, any one of you all? And then I'll wrap us up.
Read.
What
thoroughly.
a great turnout today.
Yes, this is great.
Great engagement. Thank you.
Yes.
If you want a contract, you got to bid. You got to bid to win.
That's true.
That's right.
Well, thank you, ladies. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I just say good luck.
Yeah. Thank you all so much. This was fabulous having all of you on today. Thank the ladies who ran this. Thank you all who joined us. As a reminder, you're going to receive an email that's going to have a link to this recording and to the slides. If you would like to sign up for upcoming webinars or access recorded webinars with the SBDC, you can visit virginiasbdc.org/training. This webinar and other SBD resources are designed to be used in collaboration with your local SBDC advisors. You can sign up for a free and confidential session by emailing help@virginiasbdc.org or via our website. And we hope to see you all at our next session. Take care, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.